The next series of visuals you're going to see are posters. Now, looking at our first poster, we're going to be looking at word recognition. And this one is, what do you do when you're stuck? And you can see the different things kids can do. The next one we're looking at is a word map. And with this, you can see we have our word, we put the definition with it, and we can use synonyms and also use it in context. Next one has to do with paragraph structure. And you can see we have a main idea with supporting detail, and then we have a conclusion to go with it. The prediction frame, what I like about this one, it looks like a picture frame, and you can see we can use this to predict with the story we're going to read. The next series comes from the Houghton Mifflin program, and you can see our different charts of what to do before you read, as you read, and read on. In looking at stories, one of the things we want to especially focus on is characters. And if you make a visual like this and you have it posted in your room, we can have character traits we want kids to talk about, find in the story, and write about. So we have a series of 3 of these. You saw the first one. Here's another idea. And then finally, this one you can get off the internet in terms of that particular sheet, the character traits. And what I did is I blew it up and put the faces of drama around it. It's great to post in the classroom so kids can use it in their reading and writing. Here's one on character report cards, again looking at some character traits where kids are actually going to grade the character on particular traits. The next series have to do with history, and this particular one gives you basically some story starters dealing with what happened in history. Story grammar is going to be the focus of our next 4. Here's one for mystery maps. You can see the neat ideas on this one, like where it says the scene of the crime, that's the setting, the witnesses, suspects, characters, and you can see the little curly cues that were made on it to make it look like it's a little notebook. The next one, you can see, this is the story grammar, what we're used to seeing. The thing like the main characters, the place, the time, this problem, and solutions. Here's another one called Once Upon a Time. Gives the same idea as the last one, but done in a different way, gives variety. And then finally another one in this series called All Booked Up, and this is where we either have a story or a book, and you can see we're asking students to come up with the fill-in of the different ideas. The next 2 are pyramids. The first one is a story pyramid dealing with narrative material. You can see the name of the main character, 1 word, going all the way up through 8 words describing the solution. The next one is one that we use with looking at characters in history or current events, like the pyramid. Like the name of the person could be Lincoln, 2 words describing the person, working its way all the way up to 8 words describing how mankind benefited from having this person. The next one is especially popular with boys, called Be a Star Reporter, and with this one it's a book report in just 15 words, but this will capture the essence of the book report, and kids especially like this as opposed to a really large book report. Next one we're going to look at, we're going to get into some writing posters. Here's one where we can post this, I know about, so the kids could know about their dog at home. I can tell about my dog, and therefore I can write about my dog. So it gives kids assurance in their writing. In the next one, this is something especially good to share with parents. Your child's a writer. Too many times parents can think, oh, their child hasn't progressed far in writing because they can't spell words correctly yet. Yet, if we show this chart of how they progressed, they can have assurances their child is moving along. The next one deals with editing marks, and students need to know the kind of editing marks that a teacher may use on a paper, and a teacher posts this one in the room. The next one is spin a story. And with this one, you can see, we'll get a close-up of a few of these. You can see on here, we have the who, what, when, where type of thing. And we would give that a spin. And I'll just take one here, and you just give it a spin. And wherever the arrow would point, that is what it would be in terms of that particular word. Let's move on to the next one. This next one is really good for the end of the year with kids. The teacher could do one like this herself and give the kids a paper with all this on, where it's been a very good year. They have things like the accomplishment I'm most proud of, my favorite field trip, the hardest thing about this year. The next one's called the Star Author of the Week. And with this one, as you can see there, we are looking in terms of a person and their birthday, their hobbies. This is like Student of the Week, but they have read something or they have written something that week, and they have a star author. The Sharp Story Starters, this gives a lot of ideas for kids that they can use in their writing, and with this particular one, it gives them something to think about and write about. Some teachers will add other pencils to this, and some will actually add blank pencils where the students can give ideas they want added. The next one is from a game show called To Tell the Truth, and with To Tell the Truth, you would have one student that has really read a book and two other students that met with that person to find out as much as they could about the book. I like using the different ones on the beach ball that you saw in one of the other frames that we did. In other words, you have a lot of questions that these two are asking the person who read it, and then we do a game show out of it where these three kids get up front and they all said they read a particular book, and then the audience is trying to figure out who really did read that book. The next one we're going to look at is the approach Ronald Reagan used in answering questions, called the area approach. I especially like this one. I've used this in various school districts, and we found that the state mandated test scores in writing improved because of it, where students are answering a question with the answer to it. They give a reason, they give examples, and they answer again. Just a quick idea on this one. If we were saying, should recess be eliminated in a public school? Well, the answer I would give is no, recess should not be eliminated. Reason, kids need time to get a brain break. They need time also to grow, and yes, sometimes make mistakes socially on the playground. Some examples, we know that when kids are on the playground playing, they're going to learn proper ways of behavior with the help they get from adults sometimes, and they're also going to lose a lot of the buildup that they had, that they needed to just flex their muscles. So answer again, students need to have recess in school. The next one is the mouse. I found this in a coloring book and blew it up, and I call this one Be a Big Cheese, Read a Good Book. You'll see there's a small cheese down near where the mouse's tail begins, and with this you would write every student's name on that cheese at the bottom, and you would hang these with yarn hooked onto that main mouse there, and every time the students read a book, they would use a paper punch to go ahead and punch that out, indicating they have read a particular book. The next three we're going to deal with, this is something to help the teachers, a guide for a conference that they have. This would be a good one to put up in a corner so they can develop a conversation real easily with kids in a writing conference. The next one's called a comparison map, and I like this one as a writing tool where we are comparing two different things, like the lion and the mouse in the book, the lion and the mouse in Aesop's fable, and we're comparing them in different categories in terms of energy, gentleness, bossiness, etc. We could also do this with different candidates or comparing books in general. The last one is an open-ended one for writing ideas. As kids come up with ideas and want to share, the teacher can write them up here. So you've seen all of our different posters on the language arts. and we thank you for tuning in with us.